touch of cadmium red in some spots to really warm it up. And now I'm just filling in my marsh grasses. And just like I did with the sky, let it kind of start fuzzing up into my other tree trunks up above in here too. Those are going to be covered up later. Not worried about all that. This is just filling in this area of my marsh grasses. Letting them start to fuzz down into my water, and that's going to help to start creating those reflections. Again, I talk a little bit about this in the, or more than a little about it in the course, the different types of reflections and working wet into wet and the paint consistency, all of that stuff comes into play. Added a little bit more red down here. It's a little bit deeper down the bottom of those grasses and reflections, so I'm going a little bit stronger down there. And then later we'll paint the darker, deeper reflections of the evergreen trees. Okay, that same marsh grass color is over here on the left side of that shoreline. Trying to paint around those tree trunks just a little bit there. And because I dabbed in there with my paper towel, it should, oh my God. Sorry about that. No idea what he saw. I'm gonna start dropping in some pale yellows and greens coming down here. Most of this is going to get covered up later when I do this reflection, but again, I'm just trying to kill a little bit of the white paper here. A lot of that is reflecting that big green tree. Just dropping some of those colors in. I'm going to drop a little bit more of this in down here. You can see my paper is almost starting to dry a little bit. All right, so I've got that filled in. I've got this filled in. I've got this filled in. I've got a little bit of the tree trunks filled in. I've got most of this filled in. I'm going to continue that up. I'm going to go a little bit more neutral tint and then finally end up with some of those brighter greens. And I'll have my initial light wash on here. A little bit more neutral tint as that went up into these grasses and up into some of these tree trunks and things. And then the last but not least, I need to fill in that little area with some more brighter greens again. Some cadmium lemon, some quinacridone gold, some cerulean blue. Get a nice bright green there. Most of this is going to get covered up later when I do my middle value wash. But if I leave any little highlights down here later, I want some of those nice bright greens in this area. And again, I can drop some of that even up above here. Let that fuzz a bit in the sky. Last thing I might do is put just a little bit of the orangey red in that area too, even though most of that's going to be also in there later. But I want that to be a little bit softer. So I'm going to mix some raw sienna and cadmium red together and just get a little bit of that orange and just start dropping a bit of that up in here too right now. Like I said, most of this is going to be painted again later with my middle values. Everything on there is buzzing, soft, because I wet my paper first. All I'm doing is getting rid of the white of the paper and setting the stage for my middle value wash when I kind of start painting around more of those shapes. Couple of tree trunks I might want showing through. Add some grasses back here. Looks like there are a couple of touches of little greens over on this other side too in the water. Maybe bounce that green into another spot of the light wash over here. Right down along these grasses. There is my initial light wash for this painting. So we're gonna have to let this dry. Tomorrow, we're not gonna have the big, talk ahead of time. We're not gonna have to draw everything. I've already got my value study going, so tomorrow, we'll give this a chance to dry and we'll kind of go back and forth, and we're gonna paint this shape on here after this had a chance to dry. And really kind of bring it together. Then we'll find some of the darks on the value study and put those darks on here and finish this up tomorrow. But it's already been going an hour 45. I think Hannah wants to wrap things up with a couple of things here at the end with a Q&A.
Thank you so much for sharing this. And for all of you watching, this might be something that you want to do again. So I hope that you have the reference and you can explore this again. I always find that it's pretty tricky to follow along when someone else is painting, because you're trying to watch both what they're doing and what you're doing, and their color mixing and your own color mixing. So be super kind with yourself if this didn't turn out the way you would have wanted it to.
No, there's way too much going on. These step-by-step kind of things are a lot more involved, like Hannah said. So
yeah, and tomorrow we will also understand how the value study will help us in the final painting, because now you have not really used the value study yet. It's like something that we will cover more tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I still use it. It's part of my thought process, because I'm looking at this whiter, what's going to be here, what's going to be here, what's going to be here. So I still look at, even though I'm not painting that middle value shape, it keeps me from not, this wash isn't, I'm not worried about painting things yet. I'm just looking and saying, what color am I going to need later in this area? And I'm just dropping those in. So it's still beneficial, even for the light wash.
Wonderful. Thank you for this this practical part. Let's dive into the presentation again. And yeah, as you know, we will continue painting this tomorrow, and you have some time to try this again. And if you want to continue learning with Andy, then please put a plus in the chat. And if you joined us, then be proud of yourself for joining and trying out some new stuff. It's always super scary, challenging, and fun to do new things. If you like, Andy, you can change so that we see your face.
Oh.
Eventually. And if you want to learn all of these things at a lower pace, with more time to try one thing at a time and take it in your own pace, then you are so welcome to check out and join our program, The Art of Watercolor, a complete program. This covers everything that we've done today, but in much more detail. And there are these 9 modules that we actually went through very briefly, and all of these modules are like mini courses in themselves. All in all, there are 34 video lessons with 13 hours of content, with a step-by-step approach that goes from easier exercises and sketches to more complex scenes. This is a learning program that has both the pre-recorded video aspect and also the guided aspect of live Zoom sessions, where 2 Zoom sessions are with Andy Evansen himself and 8 Zoom sessions are with a professional watercolor artist, one of our curators. And it's also included to get written feedback on your finished paintings for these 9 modules. And if you join, you get to take part in an international artistic community. And as a final result, you will also take part, if you want to, in an online exhibition with valuable prizes. You will also get a certificate of completion. This is a 1-year program, and you can extend it to lifetime access if you do all of the tasks within it, if you join us. And this is a program where you just get to do all of these things. So the things that we spoke about, the types of washes and brush strokes, as you said, Andy, you will walk through different lessons where they get to practice this in a very like step-by-step approach. Is there anything you want to add about that?
Yeah, I mean, and again, you can see, even though this is just the start of the painting, but we did the value study where it's, talked about in module 2. It's also covered in module 1, the types of brush strokes and washes, the negative painting. We've already tackled skies and talked a little bit about trees and water, even in this, the start of it. So, breaking things down into its little components, I can't stress how important that is. And this is my first course that really does that. Everything else has always kind of been finished demonstrations, painting one, but then where do you go from there? So this course, this program was all kind of geared towards giving you the skills to not only follow along with me on these lessons, but then go, work on your own paintings and use them.
So you get like the foundational keys that you can then choose to create whatever you want to from that knowledge.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. It's not, you just copy a painting. Where do you go from there? All of a sudden now you're sitting there in front of your own reference material without me telling you what to do. So yeah, it's important to practice this and get a better understanding of all the little bits and pieces. And most landscapes are going to incorporate several of these modules all together into one. So breaking it out into little sections, I think, is very important.
And that's why every one of these modules is like a mini course in itself, so that you can just zoom in and focus on one aspect at a time and get good at skies. If you want to get really good at skies, you can just do that module for a while. And then you can move on to trees and practice that and practice the brush strokes that you have learned and begin to get the hang of it before moving on to more complex scenes where you need to have a clear understanding of everything from value studies to skies to trees to wet and to wet and dry brushing and all of these different things. So you get this step-by-step approach instead, which will make it much less overwhelming, hopefully, for you. And this is the same for every single module. So there are so many modules and all of them cover, okay, how would we approach this in a winter scene? How would we approach this on a green field? How would we approach this if it's a sea wave? Like all of these things. And you really teach us how to simplify it, both in the final painting, but also in our thought process, and make it more clear for us. Is there anything you want to add about these 3 modules?
No, in particular, I think the animals and architecture are the ones where people, start to get really tripped up, moving on later to figures and things too. But the architecture one in particular, I think, is one where it's going to be very beneficial for you to kind of see the importance of a good foundational plan of attack and how you can use that because there's just way too much going on. And there's no reason to be afraid of a street scene. There's no reason to be afraid to paint animals. Like I said, and I stress this over and over again, it's just another shape. Okay, get it out of your mind that it's a building with this. Squint at it, see the light side, see the shadow side, paint that, and let the viewer figure out the rest.
And this can take some practice to just learn how to observe in this way. So that's why you just cover it first, the values, and then the architecture, whenever
Yep.
you're ready for that module.
Yep.
And the same goes for figures that you just spoke about previously, how to incorporate them so that they feel like they're part of the image and not like some 3D cut in shapes in a landscape or in a street scene.
Yeah, way too often people paint around their figures, even when they're, in that example with the dancers in that Mexican performance scene there, where the figures are for the most part so much darker than their background, but for whatever reason, students, when they're painting it, they'll paint the background and stop and leave a white hole there for the figures because they put all this undue importance on the figure. If it's going to be darker, just paint right through it and come back and paint those on top, just like you would with anything else.
And you use the same approach for all of these different subjects, which is so like clarifying, because often when we join someone and we just paint one scene with them, we're like, oh, this is how Andy Evansen paints this scene. But we don't understand the thought process and the structure and the step-by-step approach that you have discovered and that you have been teaching very successfully. And that really helps us understand in advance so that we know how to approach all of these very, very, very different scenes and subjects.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what you're painting. My thought process is the same. And I can pull out value study after value study after value study of all the different scenes, even interiors, like I said, with the figures and things. And the thought process doesn't change. It's all about what am I going to put in my light wash? How am I going to connect everything? Where are my important darks to finish it off? How can I keep it convincing but loose, and find those big shapes? So
yeah. And if you want to practice this and not just know the theory and not just try it once, but really practice this until you own this knowledge yourself, until you embody all of these things that we've been talking about today, so that you can do this both on these scenes that Andy provides, but also on any scene or any reference photo that you take and create this over and over and over again, then this program is definitely for you. And you have access to these pre-recorded modules that we have discussed already, 24/7 on the learning platform. And of course, since it's online, you can access it from any location as long as you have your login, your password, and your internet connection. And this learning experience is not just about pre-recorded material, because we want this to be a 1-year commitment. So the video material will be for 3 months that we want you to really zoom in and finish it, because we have the feedback, the individual feedback in 90 days. But then you have access to everything for 1 year. You can choose to extend it. But during this year, we also have these Zoom sessions to really boost your creativity and your motivation so that you feel that this is the year where you make it happen. This is the year where you take it from an idea and a dream to be able to simplify and avoid overworking and just paint whatever subjects that you choose without feeling intimidated just because it's a new subject. You can use the same structure for any subject that you choose. So what's also included, apart from the pre-recorded or on top of the pre-recorded material, is the individual feedback and from our professional curator, 2 group Zoom sessions with Andy Evansen, 8 regular Zoom sessions with one of our curators who is also a professional watercolor artist, the moderated dedicated students WhatsApp chat for encouragement and motivation, which is a community of like-minded people. And also at the end of this 1-year learning experience, there will be an online exhibition where you can upload and share and show your work. So there is written feedback, so you upload your images to the platform, your final paintings, and you will get individual feedback there, and that's within 90 days. And this is from an artist who has formal education in fine art, a professional with years of experience, and she's super supportive and will never leave you behind. You will also receive a certificate of completion after this, And also, as we said, take part of the WhatsApp community, which is one of the things that many of our students love absolutely the most. And they create so many beautiful friendships in this community. And the special bonus is to participate in the online exhibition by Artefacto. In our most recent one, there were 92 students who exhibited their works, and we awarded 8 winners in 5 categories. And you're competing about valuable prizes and also just celebrating your paintings together with other artists and watercolor painters. So this is a chance to just practice that and also expose your artwork to more than 100,000 Artefacto students around the world. And the main thing about this learning program is that you get a system. And when you know what steps you need to go through and when creating a painting and what to consider at each step, and you have practiced that again and again and again, then the result becomes predictable and professional, and you learn how to not overwork your paintings because you can just follow this flow and control and find flow in the process. And the result of the program is to get rid of any fear of any subject and start enjoying it through this systematic approach. You will create lots and lots of complete scenes of your own, and you will also, more importantly, get the knowledge that you need to complete whatever scenes that you choose to complete in the future. And the most important thing is that you will gain the confidence to create independently, and you don't need to follow along anymore. You don't need to follow the teacher or copy other artists' works. Our mission is to provide a transformative experience, and that this is the year where you really take your art and painting to the next level. So similar offline programs can cost over $3,000. And as Andy said, it can cost even more if you also pay for going there and the hotel or the food, the dinners. And you won't get lifetime or 1 year or even like 1 week extra access. You just have them for that one time, and then you need to remember all of it on your own. Online, you can paint whenever you want to, wherever you want to, instead of having to go to a specific spot and allocate time and money to travel there. So our online version is 4 times more attractive. $780 is what the full price of this 1-year learning program is, with these 34 lessons, the live sessions, and all of these things, the 24/7 access, the 1-year access to the video lessons, and also the monthly Zoom sessions, which is a bonus right now if you join us now. But if you join us now, there is a 45% discount, so $420 is what you would pay if you join us now. And we also have added lots of bonuses to just support you even more. We have the lesson, the 5 essential watercolor skills. We have the recording of these 2 days. So if you want to watch this again, then you get lifetime access to these workshops that we have today and tomorrow. You also get 4 pre-recorded video lessons with a professional artist, as well as a recorded Zoom session with Andy. And all of these is if you join us now within the next 24 hours. One of these bonuses will melt already until tomorrow. This program will start next Monday. You can freeze it once, but I would suggest not to do so because you don't want to miss the live Zoom sessions with Andy. We can only accommodate 50 students on this program due to the limitations of number of participants in Zoom sessions and the capacities of our masters and our curators providing written feedback. So if you want to join us, then go ahead and do so before these spots are taken. There are these additional Zoom sessions, and in these sessions, with a professional artist, you will create 1 full painting per session. You can get an opportunity to ask questions, get valuable knowledge, and you will also have probably 1-year access to these Zoom sessions, and you will get access to them straight away. So if you can't join live, you can just watch them at your convenience. So here is another bonus. So this is the 5 essential watercolor skills with Andy, where he talks about the 5 skills that helped his paintings the most. And you get access to this 2-day workshop recordings. You get these beautiful, beautiful video lessons with one of our master professional curators. So about brush strokes, telling a story, using strong feature, painting boats. And you will also get this, that we have already seen how his students have been able to paint it so beautifully, where we talk about incorporating figures, using areas of similar value, and painting with a man in color. So if you want to take advantage of all of these bonuses and everything, then go ahead and join us within the next 24 hours, because tomorrow there will be one less bonus available. So now we're going to take a quick look and just relax and listen to what some of our students say about Andy's program. I'm just going to make sure to share my audio as well. Can you see this, Andy?
No.
Course has been great.
You cannot. No, then I will share. Thank you for saying that. Then I will stop sharing my audio and instead share my screen. I apparently could only do one of them. Now.
I signed up almost 90. Course has been great. I signed up almost 90 days ago for the feedback, and I've been working through everything and a lot of the lessons several times, multiple.
So I can see myself more as I go on what's wrong without submitting it first.
I'm very happy now with my paintings. I like to paint landscapes and cityscapes, and now my paintings have more depth. They are not dull, they are not muddy. They have volume like a 3D, that's the same.
Great tips, thank you. Advise it to anybody who loves watercolors, and it's great journey again. Thank you.
I see that sometimes version 1, I did something that I thought was, good. It was something new for me. And then version 2, well, somehow I lost something from here, but I gained something over here, and so forth and so on, So I really appreciate this program very much.
So, and that's what I started to understand, joining your class and realizing that, that's the way to build your painting, to layer it in a way, to create depth.
I really appreciate, I really like your method of finding this middle values, like one big spot, and putting in different colors in that. Just feels, for some reason, for me, it feels, I almost feel joy when I do it.
So while doing all the pre-studies, you can be busy with its composition and see what to leave out and what not.
Like absolutely right, and thing to do which removes all the stress out of my painting, and it's really good. I really enjoy it. Thank you so much for that.
So thanks everyone for sharing who shared that. So beautiful.
That's fun to hear.
Yeah, it's nice for you to hear what their experience is.
They don't all hate me.
No, they don't. No, they definitely don't. As we saw previously on a slide, I think it was 1,700 people who have joined your courses in Artefacto.
Wow.
And this count is just increasing all of the time. So that's pretty impressive. And the advantages of if you join us within the next 24 hours is the 45% discount, and the 8 Zoom sessions with a professional artist is one of our bonuses. So we can only promise that within the next 22 hours. The 2 Zoom sessions with Andy, 1 year access to the video and the recording of this, all of this is, yeah, worth $760. And if you want lifetime access, here is how you do it. The Art of Watercolor A Complete program participates in the Paint to Earn loyalty program, which is a kind of system where when you complete the tasks, you earn something called Articoins, which is a virtual currency, an artifacto special currency. And within the course, if you complete the tasks, you can earn up to 700 Articoins. And you will also get Articoins for paying for this program. And you can exchange those for lessons, courses, and workshop recordings. And you can also use them to get lifetime access, which costs 600 Articoins. If you don't have access for enough Articoins for lifetime access, you can extend it by as many months as you have Articoins to extend it by. You can also purchase lifetime access for $60 at any time if you realize, whoops, I haven't had the year that I intended to, I didn't have the time to complete these tasks. So then you can just add $60 and you will get lifetime access to this course or this learning program. However, we want you to feel like this is a one-year thing so that you commit to doing this now. Tomorrow we will continue practicing. Is there anything you want to share about what we will learn tomorrow?
Tomorrow is going to be, the big thing is going to be copying that middle value shape that I found on a value study onto our color version. And we're going to just kind of reinforce that technique of changing the color on our brush. We're going to paint that same continuous shape, but now instead of just going to one puddle of gray, we're going to have to go, like I said, to those kind of blue violets in the background, to the reddish orange tree, to the green tree, back into the shadows and reflections of the marsh grasses in the water. So it's going to be just kind of watching me keep changing that color on my brush, make sure I'm getting that consistency along the edge of the shape that I'm painting. A lot of practice in that regard, and then just reinforcing, the brush strokes, how to create the pine trees, how to create the reflections, and that kind of thing.
Wonderful. We have something very, very valuable to look forward to tomorrow. And if you have worked with us now, or if you do that after this workshop and you complete the things that we did today, then you can share your work in our 2-day workshop chat. And the link to this chat was sent to everybody's email after registration. And we will select some of them for Andy to review tomorrow. So that is a suggestion for all of you who want to take part in this and share your works. Here are some frequently asked questions. Who is this program suitable for? I think we've already talked about that. Is there anything you want to add about that, Andy?
No, I think we already talked about that.
Yeah. So anyone who wants to learn how to paint watercolor, feel like they have a systematic approach and just own whatever subject comes your way, then this program is for you. And also if you want to make this next year, this transformational year, where you really take your dreams seriously and you actively put in the time and put in the love and do all of this groundwork that Andy is guiding you through, then this is for you. Are these video lessons live or pre-recorded? And as we discussed previously, the modules, so the 9 modules are pre-recorded, and then there are additional 2 Zoom sessions with Andy. And for this launch right now, we also have these 8 super supportive Zoom sessions with our professional watercolor artist curator. And all of these Zoom sessions are there to make you feel like you're really supported and truly guided in this 1-year learning experience. What happens after payment is that you get an email with all of the information, and next Monday you get access to the learning materials, because that's when it starts. What do I do if I don't have all the materials? Then you just wait for the first lesson, and if I'm correct, Andy, you discuss all of the materials there.
Oh yeah, yep. Most people have what they need. You don't need, everything that I use, but people want to know what paints I use and what brushes I use and all that stuff. But so it's not that essential that you have everything that I have, but I definitely cover, my pigments, my brushes, the paper, and that kind of thing. So.
Great. How much time does it take to create one painting?
Like 20 minutes.
Okay, fast.
Well, I mean, most of the time, well, and again, in this course, you're not really creating paintings, okay? It's more geared towards practice exercises and
Installments. And if you just pay for 1 month and only 1 month, then you only have 1 month access. The same goes for 2 months, but after the third month, you get 1 year access to this guided learning program. This is a game changer for your paintings and for your painting experience, as we heard, that it creates more ease of mind. So make sure to join us now. We have 5 bonuses with a ton of value. The value is almost as much as the price of the program itself. And the result is that you will get much more confident in creating independently with no need to copy other artists' works. So if you want to make your dreams a reality, then remember that the only thing to get somewhere is to take action, and it's never too late to pursue your artistic dreams. So we really hope that you join and that you feel inspired to just up-level your game and feel free to create whatever you want, because this will give you the tools to do that. So there is a link below this video. You can scroll down and press that, and you will get to where you need to go to join this program. And we only have 50 students left, and in our first launch, we ran out of spots within 2 days. So in 1.5 days or so, all of them were gone. And now we have spent a lot of time together. So I'm gonna ask you, Andy, do you have like 8 more minutes, or how many minutes do you have for Q&A?
yeah, if they have some questions, I can hang around.
Okay, so let's decide then that we're gonna stay for 10 more minutes. So this is your chance to ask questions in the chat. It can be about the program, it can be about watercolor, it can be about the dog. No, maybe not the dog. Oh, Vidar says, join the program now. Look forward to start. Smiley. Congratulations, and we're so happy to have you with us, Vidar.
Yeah.
And now, Marsha writes, when you're on location painting plein air, do you still wet both sides of the paper?
Yes. Yep, I almost always do, unless I'm working on a block. In that case, obviously you can't, but it's still beneficial. If I just have a backing board and I wet both sides and then kind of clip it to that.
And Akai writes, thanks for a beautiful lesson. And Shanta says, thanks for today's lesson. Looking forward to see you tomorrow. Thank you so much, both of you. Camille says, how do you decide which colors to use?
I'm pretty true to the colors in the scene. I don't change it that much. I mean, I have a fairly limited palette. My palette is mostly just blues and yellows and reds. So I'm become very comfortable kind of mixing what I need. If it's more of a gray day, I'm going to stick to the more muted, cooler colors. If I want to inject a lot of warm sunlight in it, I might use some more of the quinacridone gold and cadmium red, that kind of thing. But I think most of my color choices, like I said, I'm still, even though I'm trying to paint impressionistically and loosely, I'm still trying to stay fairly true to the colors in the scene.
We also have a question that has occurred a couple of times here. Why do you only use one value in your value study?
I don't. We haven't finished the darks yet. So this value study that we've done here for the value study is just for the first 2 steps. We're going to come back tomorrow after we do this, because I want to be able to copy this shape on my color painting. So I don't finish it off with my darks just yet. We're going to use this as our map for the next stage tomorrow, and then we'll come back and put some darks on here and darks on the painting.
That's so smart. You're like, I'm not going to waste this super helpful tool by completing it when I am not complete with my painting.
Yep. No, wow. It's a lot easier to copy that shape if you don't put the darks on it first.
Esha writes, how do you leave white space when you're using a wet on wet technique?
Well, I just wouldn't wet into those areas on the front if I wanted white paper. So if I had a larger white a house or something, when I'm wetting my sky, I'll just stop where that house is. So I wouldn't wet into it all. In this instance, like I said, there wasn't really any white, even those tree trunks had a little bit of a tone on them.
Thank you for that. Masha says, thank you so much for answering my question and for the lesson. We have a question from Mel. Hi Andy, do you top up and wet the paper again during the painting? Mine dries up a bit in between, like, or during the painting process.
I don't really like to re-wet my paper because typically as I'm working on it, I'm painting smaller and smaller shapes. Okay, so I'm wetting my paper initially because I'm covering the whole thing, and I just want those light colors on there, and typically includes the sky where you want the clouds to be soft. But after that, I'm painting, you know, even though that middle value shape is big, it's going to have some hard edges on the outside of that shape, so I don't really want my paper wet. It's more about reloading my brush often enough to keep a nice wet edge along that shape that I'm painting, but I typically don't have to re-wet my paint. You might just, you know, as you go, if you're having trouble due to the climate you're in or something, wet your paper a little more at the outset to compensate for that.
Sunita writes, how long did it take for you to say to yourself, yep, I got it now?
I'm still waiting for that day.
Isn't that something that you can feel for a moment and then you're like, oh no, I lost it?
Yeah, no, it's very fleeting, all that confidence.
Yeah. Everyone is apparently a human being in this work when it comes to water.
For sure. For sure, yeah. Nobody has it all figured out. At least I don't, I know
that. We have a couple of more questions. I will see here if I can find. I have some more from before. I've already answered that. We've already answered that. Do you sometimes make up your painting without and use your imagination?
Not really, just kind of for fun. I've done it a few times with like fun exercises or something, just trying to paint out of my head. But typically I have a reference that I'm trying to capture.
It looks like we have covered most of it. We have a question from Claudia from previously who said, do you always stand up when painting?
Yes. Yeah, I can't, maybe at the end for little details, but too much of brush strokes has to do with using your whole arm. As soon as you sit down, you're just using your wrist to paint, and you're making too many little things. So I need to stand up when I paint. Plus, it gives me a better big picture vision of the painting when I stand up. I can see how it's all kind of coming together.
So for the arm and for the
big picture, yeah.
Big picture. Shilpi asks, which brand of paints do you use?
Mostly Winsor Newton, but I have some Holbein, I have some Daniel Smith, but I started off with Winsor Newton, and I just kind of always pretty much stuck with those.
Cool. Jamie writes, do you think the background had to be always cold, or can we introduce warmer colors without taking the background forward?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's a lot of scenes where, especially if it's a sunset or something, where you're going to have a lot of warmth in the background. Or if it's spotlit in the background, where it's going to be brighter there. And in fact, one of the paintings in the course with the water and reflections, the middle ground, a distant hill is in sunlight, so it's a lot warmer, and then the foreground corner, it's all in shadow, so it's a lot cooler and darker. So yeah, it just depends on the scene.
And we have Adele who writes, yay, all signed up. We're so happy that you're on your way to getting much more comfortable and confident with all of these things. Adele. Awesome. So good for you. Wonderful. How many brushes do you change while painting?
I usually don't use any more than 3 or 4. I use a bigger mop brush for my first wash, kind of a natural hair brush. I still stick to kind of a fairly large natural hair brush for the middle values, and then I'll have a smaller synthetic or 2 for some of the little shapes. But yeah, you don't need 30 brushes. You need 4 or 5 good ones.
That's good to know. We also have a question about how you paint these large straws in the water. I don't know the English word for that.
The large, what was it?
So these long grass straws in water.
Oh, well, we'll cover some of that tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Great.
Come back tomorrow.
And Camille writes, hope you have an awesome day today, Andy and moderators. You too, Camille, definitely. And now we have spent a lot of time together, so I think it's about time to wrap up. And of course, if you want to take advantage of all of the bonuses and not miss a single one, and be sure to be able to get one of the 50 spots, then you can scroll down and join us right now. And you can also choose the pay in installment and just join us for 1 month and then pay for the next month and the third month in installments if that feels better to you. And we have a lot to do tomorrow as well.
Yep.
So what's your recommendation if we now feel like, oh, that was so much. How is it gonna go tomorrow?
Tomorrow, well, there was a lot of information today starting off, but tomorrow it's always nice to hear it repeated, and a lot of the same concepts you'll be hearing again, and seeing again. So hopefully it won't be quite as difficult. The wet into wet stuff is some of the most difficult thing because for people to grasp, because you're painting right through a lot of shapes. That's confusing to people. But tomorrow, especially because we already have the value study done, now we're just going to be kind of following our plan. So
we're going to get a taste of that feeling of, oh, it's a systematic approach, because today we might not have felt that if it was the first time we tried these things. Yes. Okay, thank you so much everyone for joining us today, and I hope that you got a lot of value and inspiration and that you're eager to try this again either tomorrow or even today if you want to just do a quick value study of this or some other subject. And we will meet up again tomorrow and continue the painting that we started today.
Sounds good. We'll see you tomorrow, everyone.
Thanks so much, Andy. Thank you so much, everyone. And there are so many thank yous in the chat. So thank you for writing in. Therese, Anneli, Shilpi, Nashra, Sanya says, looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. Momina, thank you so much. Andy, Gail, thank you both for the workshop. Carrie, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for joining us. Therese says, see you tomorrow. Nadine says, thank you. So thank you so much everyone for being here and spending so much time with us, and have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
Have a good day, everyone. Bye.